words because I find they're slightly different from what we sing.
Thank you very much. I just want to quickly welcome Berry and Auntie Betty. Very happy to have the both of you with us this evening. I hope you had a wonderful Sabbath, and hello. And it's good to see you joining us tonight. Anyone's got a favorite they would like us to sing?
I've got the love of Jesus down in my heart, way down in my heart, way down in my heart. I've got the love of Jesus down in my heart, way down in my heart to stay. And I'm so happy, so very happy. I have the love of Jesus in my heart, and I'm so happy, so very happy. I have the love of Jesus in my heart. I have the peace that passes understanding down in my heart, way down in my heart, way down in my heart. I have the peace that passes understanding down in my heart, down in my heart to stay. And I'm so happy, so very happy. I have the love of Jesus in my heart, and I'm so happy, so very happy. I have the love of Jesus in my heart.
Anyone else has got a song?
Sandals.
Beautiful, thank you.
The man in sandals came to have a home and play. No one can stay the same. Offers and birdies say, sandals, sandals on his feet, dusty roads and people meet. Sandals, sandals came to me, steps that led past Calvary. Today he walks the day, his footsteps come again. He comes to learn to live, and change his heart and sin. Sandals, sandals on his feet, dusty roads and people meet. Sandals, sandals came to me, steps that led past Calvary.
I just want to quickly welcome Sandy. Very happy to have you with us, and I hope you had a lovely rested Sabbath. And I hope the week that's ahead will be just blessings and wonderful things. Can I ask if we can sing our theme song, please? Alive, alive, forevermore.
Alive, alive, alive forevermore. My Jesus is alive, alive forevermore. Alive, alive, alive forevermore. My Jesus is alive. Sing hallelujah, sing hallelujah. My Jesus is alive forevermore. Sing hallelujah, sing hallelujah. My
you very much. I just want to say thank you to Marilyn and Pastor Gary for the music instruments and for the voices. I see there was 2 guests walking in there by Frank and Lynette. I just want to welcome you. I see they're a bit shy hiding there, so I know there's no more space, so I do understand. I'm just teasing a little bit. Very happy to have
Laura Armstrong.
Very happy to have you with us. I hope you had a blessed day. And it's wonderful to see all of you joining tonight. It's good to have a lot of voices instead of just listening to 1 or 2. So it's wonderful to have all of you with us. I would just like to ask Pastor Gay, would you mind just opening the prayer for us and thanking the Lord for the wonderful Sabbath He's blessed us with, please?
Our dear loving Father, we do thank you for your wonderful love toward us. We thank you that we had a beautiful Sabbath, that we've enjoyed many, many blessings and fellowship and good things. Thank you for all these blessings you've showered upon our pathway. We invite your presence here with us. Speak to our hearts as we hear the message. May it prove a blessing in our lives. Forgive us where we failed you in any way, Lord. We dedicate ourselves to you as we start this week and as we end the Sabbath. And we thank you for hearing us.
Thank you very much, Pastor Gary. I just want to share a verse with you, and it's going to be Jeremiah 33, verse 3. Call to me and I will answer you. You shall, and show you great and mighty things which you do not know. Then I've got this little thing for you to remember this week ahead. Remember the 4 things. He will make a way. He is fighting your battles. Prayer is the best medicine. And trust his timing. If you've got a difficult situation or problem this week, just know that the Lord has it. And all you need to do is put it in his hands. Trust him and love him and know that he knows the best for you. I just wish the best for you this week. And thank you for joining this weekend and everything that was done this weekend. I ask that we're going to open our hearts and our ears and listen to what the Lord is going to share through Juanita. This is our last session with the missionary work that she's been sharing with us, and she's been sharing quite a lot of information and trying to take all that information and put it into 4 sessions. So I do say thank you very much. I know it's impossible because there's so much you want to share with us, but it's not always doable. But thank you very much. I'm going to hand over to you if you can open and pray for us and then share your message that the Lord has been shared to you. And thank you very much for all that you've been doing so far. Thank you very much, Juanita.
Shall we close our eyes for prayer? Father in heaven, I pray that you may guide and lead and give me words now, Lord, that I may be your vessel. May it not be my words, but that you need me to speak. May the people understand and may your spirit bring the message home. Thank you for your love, your care, and your kindness. Amen. So yes, this is the last night. I have the privilege of speaking to you. And yes, you guys gave like a humongous list of all the things you needed me to cover in just a very little time period. So I'm hoping I'm going to at least be able to end on something tonight that's going to give you something to work on and to keep your mind going. Because tonight I want to leave especially one thing with you, and I need you to think about this, that if we want to follow the Lord, and I believe we all do, then wanting is not enough. You can't sit back and say, oh yes, I want to follow the Lord, and you sit on the same seat. It's not going to get you anywhere. It's exactly the same with our health. If you want to be healthy, then you need to put your mind in that direction. And what I want to do tonight is we're going to talk about food, because it's one of the big subjects that we need to talk about. But what I'm going to do is I want to share something with you tonight. And I would like us to take a look at this. Because if we want to be successful in our health, then we need to start planning it, because it's not going to happen by accident. So what I would like us to share tonight is the most important thing. If you forget to take anything else home tonight, I want you to remember this. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Nobody's ever going to be able to say, I have achieved, I have reached health, because health is not a destination. Health is a journey. But you have to put your mind in that direction, and you need to start planning it. So what I want to share with you tonight is, okay, so if I have to plan this, how do I plan this? And that's where I want us to look tonight, is we're going to go into planning menus, because most of the time, I don't know about you guys, but for me, it used to be like, okay, so we wake up in the morning and what are we going to eat today? And you usually have a general go-to. Some people have a speed dial where they dial and the food gets delivered if they haven't planned anything else. Or other people's go-to is like, okay, so we're going to end up eating bread or sandwiches. And if you want to have good health, you need to plan it. So what should we do? Well, one should eat with thanksgiving and not be afraid of becoming deficient. This is one of the main concerns. Many people come to me and say to me, but how do I know if what I'm getting is adequate? Well, this is the best way to do it. The time to do careful planning is, number one, making menus. Number two, when you purchase your food. And number three, when you plant your gardens. This is the time that you need to be careful and think about this. Then when you've done that, then the matter should be banished from the thought, no anxiety developed over it, because if you think your food will hurt you, be assured that it will. So if you are worried that what I'm eating is not good for me, it's probably going to make me sick, well, then I'm telling you, your mind is strong enough that it probably is going to make you sick. So what do we do when it comes to food and the selection of the food that we are supposed to eat? Well, there are two parts in your brain that controls things. One is your diencephalon. This part of the brain is where your food appetite and the sensation of hunger and thirst is located. The other part is the cerebral cortex, and this is the seat of reason and will. So under normal circumstances and conditions, this is the one that you want in control of the brain. It also needs to include and control the diencephalon, because it needs to control your desires, your appetite. What you want to eat needs to be in subjection to what the brain can reason and think about. And this is why when our little children come running into the house and say, Mommy, I'm hungry, can I have a cookie? Well, no, the cookie is not what your body needs right now. You need good food first. And then for a dessert, yes, then maybe we can have a cookie. So, how much more important that the Christian whose eternal interests are at stake bring appetite, number one, and passion under control and subjection to the reason and the will of God. Never must he allow his attention to be diverted by amusements, luxuries, or ease. You know, many times when we're going to shop, or when we're in a group of people, when we need to go out and we're socializing with friends, are we giving appetite the sway, or are we still keeping reason the one that's in control? All these habits and passions must be brought under the strictest discipline. Reason enlightened by the teaching of God's word and guided by his spirit must hold the reins of control. At all times, we want God in control. We want the Holy Spirit to be able to speak to us. And we cannot do that if we're making our bellies a junkyard. So let's talk about menu planning. So when it comes to menu planning, you need to know your food groups and you need to have them on hand, okay? So it doesn't help you going to plan things that you have no cooking clue about. So what I want to suggest to people, and what I do with the students, is you take a piece of paper and you write your food groups, your fruits, and you write all of them that you can find available to you. It doesn't help. I go, for instance, and I write on my food groups, star fruit and dragon fruit and all these things that I don't have available. You have to write what's available to you. So you're going to list all your fruits, all your veggies, all your legumes, all your grains, your nuts, all your food groups. You want to sit down and you write down exactly what is it that is available to you. Then you want to make sure that you have enough time to stop and think. Don't try and do this when you got kids running around or you got a phone that's ringing, or have enough time to sit down to think about it. Have a pen and paper ready and then do this prayerfully. When you're going to do this, sit down and say, Lord, I need guidance. I need to feed my body and my soul because I know you reach me through my body. So I need to have a healthy brain so that I can hear you speak. So give me wisdom on how to do this. And then you go. So what I've done is I've drawn up an example here for you so you can see and get an idea of how to do this. You write the days down. You put your breakfast column, your lunch column, and your supper column. If you are the kind of people that only have 2 meals a day, then you only write the 2 meals. You know how your day works. The clue is this has to work for you. Please don't try to put a bar that's so high that you know you're not going to reach, because then you're already starting on a negative. So sit down and you write your breakfast, your lunch, and your supper. And I recommend that people do this for at least 7 to 10 days at a time. I know if we're not used to planning menus, dit vat 'n bietjie kopkrap. You need to think about this a little bit. But it's a good thing to do, because if you write it down and it's in front of you, you can make sure, all right, am I getting everything I need? Because we're going to talk about some other things, but am I eating in color? Am I getting enough fruits in? Am I getting enough veggies in? Am I eating the same thing all the time? And I'm going to give you one example on this. I remember I was walking in Zambia. We were going around from village to village, and I had a family that stopped me, and the lady called me, and she had a little boy in her arms. And she asked me, is it possible for me to just speak to them for a moment? And then they explained to me that this little boy of theirs had been purging, and they don't know how to stop it. So I said, well, let's talk about it a little bit. And I started asking some questions, and he was still a little boy. And I asked, how long has this been going on? And they said to me that it has been going on and off all the time for the past 6 months. Now, for a little child, that's very dangerous because they lose a lot of body fluid. And after asking many questions, I said to them, but tell me, what is his diet like? When did he start eating? No, they said he started eating when he was about 6 months old. So I said, well, how old is he now? No, he's about a year. I said, all right, so could you tell me, what does he eat? Does he eat only one thing? Does he eat a variety? No, they said he eats a variety of things. I said, well, can you mention some of the things for me? Give me an idea of what he eats during a day. So they said, oh, well, in the morning he eats porridge. Then at lunchtime he eats shima, which is pap, millennial pap, stava pap. He eats sam. He eats jibwantu, which is a drink that they make in Zambia. He eats, and I said to the lady, stop. Everything you're mentioning is made from millies. Does he eat anything other than what's made from millies? And eventually we realized that this little boy has a sensitivity to maize, and all he's been eating is maize in all its different forms. The parents was thinking he's eating a variety of things, but all of it is actually the same base. So this is why when you work this out, you can see, all right, if I've had wheat for breakfast, maybe you had a slice of bread, then you don't want to eat a wheat porridge, because then you're having wheat and wheat bread. If you've had, for instance, millennial porridge, you don't want to really have sam for lunch because you're eating the same thing. So I hope you get the idea that I'm explaining, that you don't want to copy everything. You want to make sure you get a variety. For instance, if you had bread for breakfast, if you're having a supper, you want to try to get something different in. You don't always just want to make it bread again, unless you're baking your own bread and you can put rye in it, or you make a different kind of bread. If not, you can make oat waffles, or you can make I'm just throwing things out here. You can make muffins, you know, so you can play with a lot of things to make sure that you get a balanced diet in. So you can see that I've just given you a basic idea as a start for a breakfast. You need to remember, I think Myron did this with you guys, where you have lunch, breakfast like a king, lunch like a queen, supper like a beggar. So you should have a very significant breakfast. Usually what I recommend to most people, and this is open, people differ. For instance, generally speaking, I teach a porridge with some bread, with some fruit, generally gives you a very substantial breakfast. But my little girl, being a Zambian little girl, does not like porridge, normal porridge. She likes a savory breakfast. So it has thrown a bit of a twist. And so I've had to learn, okay, well, you know, she doesn't mind having leftover lunch for breakfast. Or if she has a porridge, she likes to make it a savory porridge. So what I'm saying is you need to go with what works for you. I'm giving a basic outline. Let's take a look at some of the do's and don'ts. Number one is do not make it too complicated. All right. Don't try to put the bar so high that you're not even going to be able to make the food. The next thing is do not put things that you do not have available. It doesn't help. You have all good intentions, but you know, number one, that's not available. Or number two, you just don't have the budget for that. You know, as much as I would like to have mangoes all the time, that's not a possibility. So you eat what is available for you. Do not be unrealistic. Do not think that you're going to eat things that you really don't like or that you have never made before. Do not eat the same food every day in just another form. That's what I was explaining to you with the story. And plan according to the weather. It doesn't help you say, you know, you're going to have salads and that day it's freezing cold and all you want is just something warm to eat. Or you can flip it the other way where you have a deathly hot day and everybody feels like they're wilting and now you want to feed everybody soup. So it helps if you can plan your menu according to the weather. And then you go shopping. Couple of do's and don'ts on shopping. Number one, never shop on an empty stomach because the wrong part of the brain is going to take over and say, I'm hungry, I want this and this. And you can think for yourself, have you ever come home from shopping and you unpack the stuff and you think, why did I buy that? I don't need that. Or I didn't actually want that. Why did I buy it? Many times we buy when we're hungry and we tend to buy stuff that we didn't plan. Number two is a very good go-to because do not go shopping without a shopping list. Don't just wander up and down the aisles because there are people that actually study human behavior and how the brain works, and they are the ones that come and arrange the shops. They actually put things so that you, the consumer, can be caught to buy it. Simple things like in the back of the shops, many times are the bakeries, and they have huge fans that actually blow forward so that you get the smell of freshly baked bread. They have done statistics and they have done experiments where they have done this, and they actually had people, tiny little shop where they had done this, and they had this fan that blew out this smell of this fresh baked bread, and they noticed that they sold twice as much bread when they had that fan blowing as when they just baked the bread normally. So necessarily not more people needed it, but you smell the bread and the temptation is there to buy it. Another thing you want to do is shop according to your menu. Oh, by the way, and I'm going to mention this, there is also a lot of tricks of the trade that people are bringing in when it comes to shopping. You will find the music that plays in shops has a lot to do with it. And they've actually taken music where they have actually spoken, where it is not really audible to you, where they would say, buy Jig, for a stupid example. You know, and this would be repeated without you knowing, and they have seen how the sales of that specific item, whichever they had mentioned, had actually skyrocketed. So please do not think you're just going into the shop to buy what you're actually planning. They actually have their ways of trying to get you to buy what they want you to buy. So don't go without it. Shop according to your menu and then start reading labels on packages. You know, I know it's time consuming, but if you really want to know what you're eating, it's good to look at labels. And we're going to look at some of the things you should be looking on labels just now. The majority of the food that you buy should be whole grains, vegetables, and fruit. Stay away from crinkly packets, tinned products, and all prepackaged foods. You want to try to move your food as much over to the wholesome side as possible, because then you're going to be less likely to get all the sicknesses, gain weight, and there's a whole ton of other stuff that I'm not going to get into right now. So when we take a look and we read labels, you need to understand some of the basics. I'm not going to go too deep into this stuff, but you need to understand when labels are written, the first thing listed on the label is what is mostly in there. So for instance, if you pick up a can or whatever, and the first label says sugar, well, there's more sugar in there than anything else. So, and they have different names for sugar because people started getting clever, and there's even more than this out. I've just given you a few local ones. It can be called sucrose, lactose, that's your milk sugar, maltose, dextrose, sugar by many different names. Salt, some of them call it salt, some of them call it sodium. Milk can be there in various forms, casein, lactose, milk solids, dairy, whichever way they want to label it. And then, by the way, if anything says gelatin, you need to understand it is from animal products. And you will find that when they write gelatin, there's usually brackets. They would put bovine, which means it comes from cows, or other side, they would say it would come from pigs. So just be attentive to these things when you do go shopping. As I mentioned already, ingredients are listed from the greatest quantity to the least. And the longer the list, you need to know the more ingredients there are, the more confusion there's going to be in your stomach. You need to understand the Spirit of Prophecy has given us guidelines that when you look at your plate of food, you don't want too many varieties. You may be looking at 3 to 4, a maximum of maybe 5 things on a plate. Now, if you take a look, and I'm going to challenge you just to take, for argument's sake, a packet of fry sausages. Take a look at all the ingredients. Now, think of what happens in your stomach. I'm not saying you're never allowed to eat them. I'm just saying don't make it too often. Eat things whole the way they go. So I have example here of a crinkly packet, because they're usually the ones that we get stuck on. And this is corn chips, and my husband has a weakness, so we do Mexican now and then. But then if you take a look and it tells you what is the ingredients, you need to get used to it. So then it tells you there's whole grain maize. If you look at most of your chips, you're going to be able to find this type has non-hydrogenated vegetable oil. In other words, there is not oil that they have been playing with, where they have made it unidentifiable to your body. You will find that it says it has maize flour in it, and it contains salt. You want to start reading your labels. You want to see how much salt are they putting. Is it GM? Is it all kinds of things? And I know it's not ideal. We can't always get everything the best we want. This is why when you do your menu, plan it, pray over it, and ask the Lord to guide and lead you when you go to town. Take your tins, take your jams, take whatever you plan to buy, read the label so that you get an idea of what you're getting inside yourself. Then when it comes to the selection of your food, you want to make sure it's nutritional, all right? You want to take food that's good for your age, your weight, your activities. You want to make sure it's not calorically very dense. One of the problems we have in the West, our Western diets, is that our food is calorically very dense, but nutritionally it is deficient. So we are overeating and yet we're starving ourselves. This is why we have the problems we are having. If you eat food the way it grows, in its whole form, you're not going to have that problem because your body's going to get the nutrition it needs, and you're not going to have this constant craving of, oh, I got the munchies, I need to eat something. When you food, it must be healthful. If you know it's bad, don't eat it. I know this is sometimes a challenge. Be careful. Don't fall for the pitfall of, oh, well, just a little bit would be okay. We try to not buy those things. If you want to buy something, ask the Lord to be able to bless it. You can't bless things if you know that this is deliberately bad for you. When you plan to choose the food and to buy it, make sure that you're buying food that helps to prevent disease. Example, it's rich in antioxidants and phytochemicals. We're going to mention some of those just now. And you want to make sure that you avoid the problems of the modern diet, which is your low fiber, processed, high fat, empty calories, and just low nutrients. If I say empty calories, it's what I was explaining, that it doesn't really have nutritional value. It's really just what makes you fat. You don't get fed by it, you just actually get fat. When you're eating, you want to eat in color. God made food in color for a reason. Plant-based food, particularly your fruits and your veggies, contain various colored pigments that enhance to their natural beauty. Now, these natural colors are also benefits to our health. Some are even anti-carcinogens. In other words, they fight cancer. Now, I'd like you to look at some of these. Let's say you pick something that's red. Red is from the lycopene. It's a carotenoid. It's found in things like your tomatoes, your peppers, and strawberries. It is a very powerful antioxidant. It neutralizes free radicals that damage your DNA, that causes premature aging and mutations. It encourages proper function of the prostate and thereby prevent cancer. So when you go shopping, when you see red, you want to go, oh, yay! This is one of those that I can buy and freely eat. What about green? Green comes from the presence of chlorophyll. It's found in all green leaves, your peas, your broccoli, your spinach, you name it, all of those. Chlorophyll is an antioxidant and a blood purifier. And it is under investigation for anti-cancer. So we don't need to go and buy the pills. We can make our food our medicines. Orange, same thing. Your carrots, oranges, squash, your mangoes, your apricots. They're antioxidants, they're anti-carcinogenic. They're beta-carotene, most important because it transforms to vitamin A in the body in much higher portions than other carotenoids can. So you want to make sure that you get an adequate amount of these in. And my friends, I want to encourage you, eat as many of them raw as what you can. There's nothing nicer than munching on a carrot rather than having it all cooked to death and squashed. What about yellow? Various pigment present in this color. You've got carotenoids such as your lutein, which is in corn. You've got carotenoids are antioxidants and protect the retina. This is in your eyes. Flavonoids such as quercetin found in apples. Flavonoids are the most common in fruits and have a variety of medical properties, especially your anti-inflammatories and antioxidants. I'm telling you these things so that when you go shopping, when you make your menu, sit back and look at the day. What colors have I had on my plate? How about purple? This color is produced by anthocyanins, antioxidant substances that, number one, improve blood circulation in the capillaries and in the veins. Helps with the health of the retina and improve your vision. Where do I find these? Purple grapes, mulberries, blueberries, and the skin of eggplants. I need to say this, many times we think we need to spend the extreme amounts of money. And because blueberries have gotten such a good rap, everybody thinks they need to go out and buy blueberries. But I want to tell you that we have mulberries that grow in South Africa in abundance. And yet nobody wants to eat them. It's only the kids that climb the trees. But I want to tell you that mulberries are the South African blueberries. These are excellent for you because they are the ones that's going to give you exactly what you need. In Zambia, it was very interesting because many times we would talk to the adults and try to encourage them to eat fruit. And they would just they would tell us that fruit is not food, that's children's food. And this is why our children who climb the trees and come back with purple mouths and stained shirts are the ones that's lively and running around and happy. And we who think we've become too sophisticated and too educated to eat this kind of food, we're the ones that's getting sick and dying of this. So let's look at this. Deep red. This rich color is a type of anthocyanin called beta-cyanin. Similar properties to those of your purple ones. It also acts as anti-anemics. So your red beetroot, your pomegranates. So if you can find that deep red, you want to make sure that that's part of your diet. Now, just to end off something interesting, you are welcome to go and Google mulberries. Because I had people that argued with me and said that, oh, no, you can't compare, but you can. You can take a look. I put on the screen for you what is inside a mulberry, its nutritional value. But just for interest's sake, to mention some of the things. Mulberries can balance internal secretions and enhance immunity. All right. Mulberries are useful for persons who use their eyes a lot during their work. Regular consumption of mulberries strengthens eyesight. Presence of nutritious elements like minerals and vitamins in mulberries help in curing some chronic diseases. It's helpful in proper gastric juice secretions. The regular use of mulberries enhances appetite. It also improves the ability for digestion and assimilation. Mulberry could be used to fight problems like chronic gastritis and chronic hepatitis. Regular consumption of mulberry juice would be helpful in curing problems like anemia, dizziness, heart palpitations, insomnia. Now, the next one I found very amusing, but people can try this. Persons with graying hair can also get benefit by regular intake of mulberries, and if you really want to, the juice can be directly applied to your head to promote healthy growth of hair and blackening, if anybody would like to try that as a hair color. Its nutritious value of mulberries enriches the blood, and the process soothes the nerves. Mulberries could be helpful in promoting metabolism of alcohol. Mulberries are helpful in containing hypertension. Regular intake of mulberries strengthen the body parts like your liver and your kidneys. It helps with constipation. Mulberries is instrumental in eliminating abdominal distension. Intake of mulberry juice after surgery is restorative. It's helpful in recuperating after long time sickness. It's good after childbirth for women's health. It keeps your cholesterol low in your body. It can suppress mutagenesis and carcinogens. Regular use can help prevent cancer of the liver, and it's good in reducing levels of blood sugar. The reason I put this in is because many times we believe we need to buy the expensive stuff. We need to go to the extremes just to be healthy. I want to tell you, my friends, that's not necessary. What I wanted to share with you tonight is that God has made ample provision for you and for me in the simple things that grow. Eat it like it grows. Plan it. Plan your menu. People say, oh, but I don't like a planned menu. Well, if you don't plan it, you're going to be failing, because you're going to wake up and say, oh, you know, I didn't think of what we're going to eat today, so we're going to just take a speed dial, or we're going to end up on bread. That's not what you're looking for. So I want to encourage you in this week that lies ahead and the weeks, take the time, sit as a family and plan. What is your likes? What is your likes? What would you like to eat? What would you like to eat? And write it down. When you've made your menu, then turn around and make your shopping list. And when you go shopping, buy according to that. Then you know what you're bringing home is what you're going to be using. And you have prayed over your menu so that God can bless even the shopping list. I hope that this has been some help to somebody. If there's any questions, I am open to answering any if there's any questions.
Juanita, can I ask, let's just close in prayer and then give everyone a chance to ask questions, because I think there will be a few questions, if you don't mind, please.
Gladly, let's pray. Our Father in heaven, we have chosen to follow you. We have chosen that we want to live lives that will glorify you. And I pray that your Holy Spirit may give us wisdom as we go forward in this. Father, that we can put our money where our mouth is, that when we go shopping, that we can shop to honor you. When we can eat to honor you, that when we ask you to bless it, your name may be made great. Thank you for your love, your care, and your kindness. Amen.
Thank you very much. I really extra enjoyed this session because I was thinking of a menu myself because I've got a 3-year-old and it feels like I don't give him enough what he needs. Even though they're busy automatically, you can't really prevent that from happening. But it's good to see and get ideas because you'll think it's one thing, but there's different ways of cooking it. It's the same thing. It's not, it's different things, but it's the same thing. So you opened my eyes with quite a few things. I do really appreciate that. I made a lot of notes and I had to take my screen off because I took some photos to remember because I'm going to forget it. So I hope you would mind to share that maybe with the group. You can maybe send it to me and I'll share it if you don't mind. I think there's a lot of people wanted to make notes on that. I really appreciate it. Anyone's got questions or comments, you're more than welcome just to unmute and just go for it if you've got anything. Remember, this is our last session, so you must take this advantage now and ask questions because we don't know when we're going to get this opportunity again. And while we're waiting, I just want to welcome Lou and Pedro and Cecilia. So I've got a long list here, and I think it's Panda and Abu, are you on the same screen? Maybe I'm thinking that the both of you are together. Very happy to have all of you with us, and thank you for joining tonight. Anyone's got a question or a comment?
First, I want to say that thank you so much, Juanita and Myron. You've really blessed our group and inspired us to be more healthy. The second thing I want to say is that it's all on YouTube, so you can relive this particular session and the previous ones. And thirdly, just while I'm talking, I joined the medical missionary course and we're already on lesson 5 in 1 week. So there's a lot of stuff to actually get to know about, and I'd really recommend that those who are interested get on the next course. It's really, really rich with information.
Anyone else has got a question or a comment? Something they would like to share with us? Gave us a lot of information. You need to absorb it now and make it part of our lives. I was thinking, I do sometimes buy, when I do groceries, we try to see what's on everything, but I don't know, I never knew how much I need to look at things. Just looking at the labels, you've opened my eyes, and I do believe a lot of other people's eyes as well. It's always, I've always went to go shopping when I'm hungry, so I know that's why I got some stuff, extra stuff, but I've got a little one also packing in if you want something. So it's interesting to see how it works to go shopping. And we always think, like you said, we go shopping, we think we know better, we know exactly what we want. And then they trick us. We buy stuff that we don't even need it. And I mean, I went to a shop just smelling the bread because I want to go in there just to smell the bread. So it's a good way of how to lure people to come into the shop, and they normally put stuff you don't want in the way because you're on your way to go look for something that you want. So I do agree with you there. Anyone else has got a comment or question? Juanita, yeah?
You know, many times, and this is the challenge, I remember when my little girl was small, and she was tiny. She had just started eating. She had not eaten anything until the age of 6 months. And I had started her on just fruit. And then I remember we were doing a health expo in town one day, and I did have stuff for her, but I wanted to make sure that I can just have a backup for whatever might happen. And I remember I had a moment's breather, and I ran into the shop, and it was a spa. And I ran to the baby section and I looked, because I didn't usually buy food for her. Most of the time I made whatever I needed. And I thought, oh, well, what's the harm? And I grabbed one of the bottles of baby food. And I was about to go to the till, and something said to me, you should read it. And I stopped, and I had taken a container of baby food that was supposed to be fruit. And I turned the label and I started reading it. And when I read the label, I nearly had a cadenza. Because on the label, on the front of the bottle, they had just put, if I remember correctly, it was pears or something like that. But when I actually read the ingredients, they had ground up fish that they had put inside the baby food. So to me, I learned, and I had known this, but I nearly fell for just grabbing a container and running out and not actually knowing what I would be feeding her. So this is why I tell people, you want to know what you're eating, then read the label. If you don't care, then don't read the label, because then maybe you don't want to know what's inside that stuff.
That's definitely true. But if you start reading it, you'll get into the habit of doing it. So for instance, chips. I'm a big fan of chips. I'm not going to hide it. But it is true. If you read it and you're going to start using the ones that's more healthier, and at the end of the day, you'll see there's a lot of stuff that's unhealthy, but it's good to get to know these things. You'll get into a habit. I see the Frank platform is unmuted.
I chatted to.
Sorry, go.
Lynette and I were walking in the forest, and I chatted to one of the foresters, and he was telling me that one of the biggest exports South Africa has, one of the exports is wood pulp that they use as a food additive. So even wood pulp is getting added into food, and people don't realize it. That's why your natural is better.
Thank you for that. Do you know that 90% of the stuff we eat, we have no idea. The stuff is plastic. There's a lot of stuff that's coming in on the market. The thing is, if we start understanding that those food manufacturers are not making food for your health, they're making it for their pocket. So they don't give a flying pig whether you're healthy or whether you're going to die by eating it. As long as you buy what they're giving you, they don't care.
I do agree with you. Kumata, you've got a question? I see you've got your hand is showing. Sorry.
Yeah, greetings to everyone. Thank you for this very, very informative presentation. And the speaker has just stolen my last words from my comments when she said, these big manufacturers are not interested in your health. They're just interested in their bottom line, in their financial statements, in their income, blah, blah, not in your health. And that was going to be one of my comments. And my second one is, you know, it dawned to me as she's making this presentation that this thing of being healthy is a daily decision. You must make an effort and a decision to be healthy daily. And I'm saying daily, not even once daily, because you eat 3 times a day or 2 times a day. Every time you eat, you must make that decision. And no wonder God aligned health to worship, because this thing of worship is not a once-off thing. We are into worship mode, into meditation daily, hourly. We need Jesus every hour. And also, you know, this was very informative. And every time a health presentation is made, which I like how our church does it, it needs to be done every quarter, but every time it's being made, it polishes my selection of how to, it just modifies me from one level to another. And thank you for this presentation.
Thank you very much for sharing that. I just want to quickly welcome Olaf as well. Happy to have you with us, and it's wonderful to end with a big group tonight. I see we were jumping from 15 to 16 and then again. So it's wonderful to see there was people getting this, and there's a lot of people that listen to the link afterwards as well. So the information has been shared, and I believe all of us that's got the information now will take part of it and share it with people around us as well, not just to keep it for ourselves, because people need to know this. And I do agree with Banda. We do get these health messages, but I don't know if it's just me, but we do get a different way of everyone else is thinking about it. I've heard a few times, but now Juanita shared some things I've heard before, but I've never taken it in as now. So sometimes it has to be heard a few times to get to open up our ears. So I really appreciate it. And I'm very sad to have this, the last one. but I really believe you'll be coming on again and just to help us with something else. There's always something in the future. We hope to have you on, and I've got a lot of members that were very happy with the way you presented it. So thank you very much. And please say thank you to Marion as well. I know he's not there at the moment. We really appreciate the both of you willing to do this for Advent Hope. If there's no more questions or comments, I just want to, Cliff, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, just to put it to Juanita that maybe what we could do in the future is gather some questions from our group, and we really have almost like a facts and a whole God question and answer session. Because I think all of us, and especially with food and various things in our lives and things, we have questions, but we don't really want to go to a doctor and ask or anything like that. But I sense a wealth of information in you and Marion. And if you're up for it, I'd like Marlene to actually pick up that next session where sometime later this year still we do a question and answer. If you have the time for it. We'll give you the questions first.
I have no problem with that. I can't guarantee we have all the answers, but the Lord does, so we know where to go for them.
That sounds brilliant. Thank you very much. I'll definitely contact people and get questions. Is there a limit? Because I know I've got a lot of people that will ask questions. So it's good. So if you've got questions, please send them through now. Then at least we can build them up, and then we can decide on when Juanita and Marion's available, because then at least we can give you time to go through them. It's wonderful. I think that's a brilliant idea. Thank you, Cliff. If there's no more questions and comments, I just want to invite everyone tomorrow evening at 6. We've got our group prayer. Please join us. If you don't have the time or are not available, join. Please send our prayer request or anything to us. We'll pray for you. You're more than welcome. I see, Peter, you unmuted. You want to mention something?
Ja, weet jy die gesondheid van Walter Fight, die breinbrood wat hy ook op die Google het. Dis 'n baie gesonde leer een, daai ene ook, en is maklik om dit te maak.
Baie dankie dat jy deel. Nee, ek stem 100% saam en dit lyk baie lekker ook. Ek dink my ma het al vertel van dit, ja.
Ja, die brood wat jy koop in die winkels is baie swak. Is net wind.
Next thing. Nou, baie dankie vir daai inligting. Ek dink ons moet 'n bietjie gaan kyk daarna. Dis wonderlik om te hoor dat daar mense is wat resepte uitdeel ook. So as jy dalk resepte het, is jy meer as welkom om met ons te deel. Ek dink daar is baie mense wat daarvan hou om 'n bietjie eksperimente te maak met brood, want dit is meer voedend as die wat in die winkel sê. Ek stem saam met jou, want jy eet en eet en eet, jy word nie voed. Jy kry nie voeding van dit nie. So ek stem 100% saam. Baie dankie vir daai.
Ekskuus tog, ek wil net byvoeg die ding van gaan koop by 'n winkel, jy maak 'n lysie om sekere goed te gaan koop. Dan stap jy met 2 keer soveel goed uit daarso en dit kos jou 2 keer 3 keer soveel. So ou se beplanning is swak, ou se selfbeheersing is swak. Jy hou nie by wat jy wil doen nie. Sodra jy in 'n winkel kom en jy sien dinge wat jou oë trek wat lekker is, dan gaan koop jy goed wat glad nie eens beplan was nie.
Nee, ek stem saam. Ek bly ons oë is nou oopgemaak dat ons kan sien 'n lysie en ons mag nie in die winkel instap as nie 'n lysie het nie. Moenie gaan eet voordat jy in die winkel ingaan, want anders gaan ons goed koop wat ons definitief nie moet nie. Ek weet ek self Sondag daarso, maar baie dankie vir die inligting wat julle gedeel het. Franklin, I see there's a unmute there. Anyone want to mention anything?
No, just if you're at the end of the meeting, this was meant to be a plug for next week's meeting. You know, Advent Hope Online got involved with that little church in Southwest Africa. Well, it's not a little church, it's a big one now. And through our donations and collections and prayer, it's come together. So the committee is coming to make a presentation next Saturday evening, and the committee was shown it. And I must say it was a very moving evening we had. So if you want to next Saturday evening, for those that donated, for those that prayed, for those that helped, and for those that didn't do anything, you're all welcome to come and learn what's happened through our little church that got involved in Southwest Namibia. It's very exciting. We've been incredibly blessed as a committee to see what's happened. So we're going to even try and get Barbie on the line to tell us, her and her husband became Adventists and built this church. But I won't spoil it for you for next week.
Thank you very much, Frank. That was definitely on my mind as well to share that, because we need to reach our donators and people that's been praying, giving clothes, everything. Anyone that's got anything to do with Kashira, and please, everyone's welcome. So I want to talk Afrikaans and English now. But we wanted to just promote that as well, to let people know what's happening, because it's going to be a brilliant one. I don't want anyone to miss out. So Sabbath closing, please share it with everyone, share the link. We want everyone to come and listen to what the Lord has been using these people to do. And it's wonderful to see how far they came and what obstacles they had to go through just to finish the stuff that they've been doing. The Lord has really been working through everyone. So please join us tomorrow evening. Next week, we've got a lot of events. I really hope and invite you all to join us. We've got Wednesday prayer meeting, morning manna on Thursday, and then the weekend events as well. You're all more than welcome. Please share it with people that you want. If you've got anyone that wants to join our group, you're more than welcome to send them to us. We'll add them. You're more than welcome as well to go to Advert and our website as well. There's so many information, so much you can miss and see there. There's a lot of links as well. So if you want to look at this link again, you're more than welcome to go do that as well. Please, I want everyone just to know that there's a lot of information there, just to go look for it. We can never say there's nothing to get to know or to learn. I really appreciate all of you joining tonight. I hope you have a lovely evening. Please be safe and treat each other with love from the Lord. Thank you very much. Enjoy this evening. Bye-bye.